Hello there, welcome to Talking Balearics. This is me, Martin Makepeace, here in a very sunny Ibiza.
Me, Richie Pryor, and yes, likewise, very sunny and warm Mallorca. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, very warm over here. Yeah, very well, thanks, Richie. Listen, Richie, I mean, it seems like only 2 minutes ago that I was seeing you, but is time going quick these days, or is it just me?
We're just getting old, mate. And
Yeah,
I see on video, you got a shirt. You've been in court today, Mark, have you?
No. It's not a shirt, mate. It's a very nice sweatshirt, mate.
Oh, okay. It looks like a shirt from where I am.
I've just been out on my moped cross scooter, so it's it was a little bit chilly out there as well. So you're an hour late, Rich. By the way, I've been sitting the queue for an hour waiting for you. Where have you been, mate? Just out of interest.
Well, you know where I've been. I've been football as always.
Is it dad taxi?
Dad taxiing again. Yes. Yes.
Good. Anyway, this is Talking Balearics. Obviously, myself, Martin Makepeace here in Ibiza, Richie Pryor in Mallorca, our little weekly podcast. Listen, Rich, before I go further, just got the charts through. We're number 23 in the UK this week. It's not bad, is it? Number 23.
What, have we released a song as well? What's going on, mate? I didn't know.
Well, Rich, listen, if your singing's as good as your banter, then obviously we shouldn't be releasing any songs anytime soon. But no, 23 on the charts in the UK chart in places, was it places and travel? So not in the general chart, but we're getting there, aren't we? Slowly but surely, Rich.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to hear, Mark. Very good.
Yeah, good. Talking Balearics, this is myself and Richie talking about the most amazing islands in the world. There's always something happening anyway, so please like and subscribe and comment if you will. What have you got for me this week, Richie?
Spanish officials want to end the 90-day rule for Brits. This is an ongoing saga of,
Is it? Am I getting deja vu here or something?
Yeah, a bit of Brexit, rubbish that has come up since obviously we left the EU, and people not being allowed to spend more than 90 days in the country. Spanish officials are trying to get rid of it because it's harming our economy, Mark. That's what's happening.
Funny that, isn't it? Who would have thought that less Brits in Spain would harm the economy? Wow.
Yeah, no, exactly. I also want to talk about Bizum. I don't know if you use Bizum that much.
I do, yeah.
But I want to talk about that today. And I know someone mentioned that the cheek of it last week said we talked too much about football, but I think we have to talk about football a little bit longer this week because it's all going horribly wrong for Mallorca.
Rich, that person didn't say we talk too much about football.
Oh, okay.
You talk about football, but you listen. You know me. Listen, don't forget we're the ones who did the Kicking the Balearics podcast for a couple of years until we realised no one was listening to us whatsoever.
That's true, actually. That is true.
And we changed it to Talking Balearics because we thought it was a bit more topical. But yeah, listen, always good to hear about footy, mate, isn't it? But yeah, Mallorca, I hear you. Yeah, I'm ready for that.
Not great.
No, not great at all, Rich. Listen, I've got 3 topics this week, Rich. As always, all my 3. First of all, new report out. I like a report. And this one was focusing on agrotourism, okay, which we probably haven't spoken about it a lot, have we, on this podcast? So we'll talk a little bit about agrotourism because I know everyone's scratching their heads there, so I'll explain a little bit more. I've got a West End story. We like the West End, don't we? You've got Punta Ballena, we've got the West End, so got a little West End story, and there's a little strike happening this week, which I'll go into detail about, which is probably putting a spanner into the works of summer so far. But strikes are usually designed for that, aren't they? So obviously looking forward to your little bit of football at the end.
Spanish tourism officials are actively lobbying the European Union to ease travel restrictions for British citizens, specifically trying to bypass the post-Brexit 90-day limit for Schengen area. At the moment, non-resident Brits in Spain can only spend 180 days a year in 2 batches of 90 days. So they spend 90 days, then they have to leave. They can't come back for another 180 days. Then they're back for another 90 days. It's rubbish, really. Spanish tourism secretaries, including former ministers Fernando Valdez and Hector Gomez, have argued that this post-Brexit rule severely harms the Spanish economy. Second homeowners and long-stay British holidaymakers usually contribute billions to local economies across regions like the Balearic Islands and beyond. So, yeah, they're not telling us anything we don't know already, to be perfectly honest. And I know that I thought it was interesting that Wes Streeting came out as part of the Labour, as part of the Labour leadership campaign, and said, I want to go back to the EU. I mean, I wouldn't be averse to it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah,
I think most
we've
of us that live here know the problems that Brexit has caused in relation. And in reality, you know, what has it done for immigration? Absolutely nothing, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, unfortunately, I think we're too far down the road for that, Rich. I'm afraid I think the Brexit train's left the station, is not coming back. It's funny. I do spend a lot of time talking to homeowners, especially because I'm in the real estate business, about the 90-day rule, Rich. You know, they're a bit stressed. But as I say to them, do you know anybody who's ever been fined or told off or whatever for staying over 90 days, Rich? Do you know anybody?
Actually, I do know a couple of people.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
What happened? Because I'm intrigued, because I don't think anybody.
I don't know the story in full, I'll be honest with you. And I don't want to say it on here and who it was and everything else, but I have had a couple of people that have been warned that, you know,
right,
you are, you know, not really supposed to be here. Whether or not they were, I don't know if they were sort of turned away at the passport control or whatever. But look, it's one of these rules that how do you govern it if the truth be known as well? I was, funny enough, I was listening or watching a story of a couple that had basically spent nearly 400 days just traveling around Europe, going in and out of Schengen and non-Schengen areas, and managed to avoid that sort of 90-day rule. And they were literally doing it in a camper van, basically. So it is possible to do, but it's, you know, nobody wants, you know, to be honest, live out a camper van, if the truth be known. You'd rather just come in. If you've got a second property, you want to be in it, don't you? That's what it's there for.
But I don't know anybody that's had, you know, their knuckles wrapped or been told off about the 90 rule. So I think it's being self-policed at the moment. Well, let's see if the EES system, whether it comes in or not, if that changes things a little bit. But I don't know, Rich. I'm a bit confused by it all, because it doesn't make much sense where you're banning the people to come in to spend money, you know. So you really are throwing the baby out with the bathwater, aren't you, really, for that?
No, totally.
So it doesn't make sense. So the Spanish and the Brits need to get down. We need to sort this under 30s working or the young person's work visa. I need to sort out the 180. But unfortunately, you know, Brexit means Brexit, I'm afraid. So whether that happens or not, and because don't forget, you don't negotiate with the country, you negotiate with the bloc, don't you? So
yeah, exactly.
So it's quite, you know, it's not great, I'm afraid. Agritourism, Richard, have you got that business in Mallorca? Yeah, I thought you had. I mean, listen, I know a little bit about over here, but I presume you've got. It's a real burgeoning business as well, I think, because I mean, just to explain, to give a bit of background, Agritourism is basically big old country houses that have been changed into country hotels, and they're usually boutique. They usually got less than 20 rooms. Big country plots, a bit like living on a farm, I suppose, in the UK, or staying in a farm or something like that in the UK. Now, the Agritourism people have come out now, and they've released a little bit of a statement saying that people, and this goes in general to the travel market, I think at the moment, they're saying, listen, it's last minute bookings, so they're finding it very hard to forward buy. They're not quite sure how busy it's going to be. They say that people are booking less days, which we know about at the moment. So they're coming over. The spend's pretty good, but they're saying that basically they're echoing what the hotels are saying, really, that especially with the war, the Iranian issue, people are undecided at the moment. So, you know, we said that we had a little bit of a boom after the Gulf states found it very difficult to accept people, but it looks like things are looking a little bit quieter maybe than they thought it was. And the Agritourismos do a very good job on the island. We've got places such like we've got Soho House now. We've got Soho Farmhouse, which we've talked about in the podcast before. We've got like Atzero, Kanyuk. We've got lots of these really famous Agritourismos, and they're feeling the pinch as well. So whereas before they found that basically people are booking later and they're booking for less days. They're not too happy about it, but I think they're just going to have to get through this situation because we live in that type of world at the moment, and they are they're struggling like the hotel struggle as well. So it just highlights the trepidation of the travel market in general, and that's why before, Rich, I was saying we can't really start celebrating just yet because we really don't know what's around the corner. And I think the bottom line is people's booking habits are changing all the time and not for the best.
No, I agree with that, and I think obviously a lot of airlines coming out to say that they haven't got a fuel crisis. They are, you know, they are basically giving themselves enough fuel. They've got enough fuel to get themselves through the course of the summer. I think Ryanair came out and said it the other day as well. So yeah, it's May. We mid-May, aren't we already? Do you know what I mean? So the sort of the big months, the sort of the busiest months, June, July, August, September, are yet to come. And at the moment, yeah, you're right. The jury's still out on how good a season it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, we're still hugely popular, but we're expensive. We're attracting international visitors, but the tourists are just becoming more cautious, more flexible, and a little bit more selective how they travel.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's talk about Bizum, Mark, because Bizum is something that might not be something that people in the UK would have heard about. Bizum over here is a popular instant mobile payment service in Spain that lets you send and receive money directly through an existing banking app. You do not need a recipient's bank account details. All you need is their mobile phone number to transfer funds in a matter of seconds. I don't think there's an equivalent of Bizum in the UK, is there? I think people might have heard of Revolut or Monzo, I think is another one that's out there in the UK. But Bizum, you're basically sending money but by using somebody's mobile phone, basically. That's how it works. And apparently they are looking at rolling out Bizum over here through restaurants and bars and cafes as well. At the moment, you can't do it, obviously, because you don't know people's telephone number or the business's telephone number, but apparently that is on the way, which will make it quite interesting, I think, for people to make payments.
I think the kids use it a lot, don't they?
The kids, yeah,
kids. It's one of those things where they share bills. A bit like Revolut. I'm a big Revolut user, Rich. I think it's a great. I mean, Revolut makes other banking apps look fairly prehistoric, to be fair. So, but Bizum's good. I pay a lot on Bizum now, I pay a lot online by Bizum as well. So it's really coming in, as you say. It's good for just transferring the money there and then. So yeah, it is coming in. And Bizum, I don't think it's in the UK, Rich, but it works well over here. So yeah, good. If that increases business, Rich, then so be it.
Yeah, good.
West End, Rich. We always like a little West End story. Now, if you remember, I touched on this not so long ago. They want to. You're not going to believe this story, really. They want to rebrand the West End. Okay, so what they've done is they have put out a flyer and they're asking people to come up with a new name for the West End. Now, I was quite excited about this because I'm all in for rebranding, Rich. I think we should draw a line on it. I like Portmanny Village or Portmanny something or other because I think that encompasses the whole area. However, they've reliably told me, Rich, it's got to be in Catalan. Okay,
no winner.
Winner. I know. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Now, me and the mayor, actually, Marcus Serra, who is a great guy. I'm one of his biggest fans. I think he's done so many good things for San Ann. I went straight at him on the WhatsApp group. I said, Marcus, what? I mean, you've got to differentiate between a trademark and protecting your language, And he's like, no, it's law. Apparently it's law, Rich. Okay, which makes it even more absurd, doesn't it? It really does. So they're now asking for people's suggestions for names, but it's got to be in Catalan. So I mean, it baffles me. It defies logic. I think sometimes the obsession with the Catalan language, I think sometimes goes over the top. And this is just another example of, come on, guys. If the good name so happens to be Catalan, then I'm for it. I'm all for it, Rich. Isn't great. No problem. However, the fact that they're insisting it's got to be in Catalan, then realistically, it really does baffle me. But just to give you an idea, the leading suggestion at the moment is Barry de Ponent. Okay.
Oh, he was a fine player, Barry de Ponent. He was a centre for Swansea, I seem to remember, back in the days.
I think, he wasn't a bad lad, was he? Barry Ponent. But do you know what Barry Ponent means, mate? Do you know what it means?
I have no idea.
It means West End in Catalan.
Oh, really? Brilliant. Of course it does. Yes, when you think about it logically.
Ponent is West, isn't it? And Barry's like barrio or district, so it means the West End district, doesn't it? So I mean, it just, as I said, I can't get over it. And the second most popular name is called Sat Raval, which again I think on its own is a nice name, but it doesn't mean anything, does it? Now, if you're a branding expert, you're going to say your name needs to reflect your product, doesn't it? So at the end of the day, I just think it's it's bizarre. Don't forget, for decades, the West End has become internationally known for cheap drinks, heavy partying, and probably excessive tourism. So I don't blame the government because they want to get away from that kind of image. But I'm not sure naming it in Catalan is going to, as I say, if it looks like a duck, talks like a duck, and sounds like a duck, usually it's a duck, isn't it, mate? So I think they need to come up with a little bit of a better name for that. But as I say, the consultation period is going to run through the whole of May. And then at the start of June, we're going to have a short list, and then everyone's going to vote on the short list. So I wonder if, what's it going to be? West End Boatface, or what was it? Boaty
McBoatface. Yeah.
So
for that, yeah.
I think we should start a little, campaign to say we should come up with some name and get everybody to vote for that name as well. So
where did the name West End come from, Mark? Was that just a UK-ism that you guys put together, or was it named the West End?
Yeah, well, it's funny you should ask that, because I did a podcast with Peter Hankinson, who told me exactly he was on the committee who actually named it the West End when it was very small in the day. So we're talking early to mid-70s, Rich, and the actual story goes that they wanted to call it the East End because they thought it was a nice, catchy name, until Peter or the rest reminded at the time that the East End at that time was famous for the craze and maybe not for the best things in London. So they changed it from the East End to the West End. And there's a great flyer which I saw a few weeks ago with like one of the earliest of the West End with all the bars on there. And it was amazing, Rich, because back in the 70s, it was restaurants, it was music bars, it was discotheques, it was a real mixture of stuff. But over the years, the name of the West End conjures up, it conjures up for me a lot of happy memories, but also I don't blame them wanting to rebrand it, but please come up with a suitable name which encompasses the whole of its history and looking forward as well.
Could it not be called El Extremo Oeste? Huh?
The West Extreme, the Extreme West.
Well, no, El Extremo Oeste is basically the West End in its finest form, its finest sort of description. I always remember years ago when they were looking to rebrand Magaluf, because obviously Magaluf had a bad name, and they were obviously Calvia Beach was mentioned, that it was they wanted to call it Maganova, because so they were going to combine Magaluf and Palma Nova together.
Maganova, so you got, I like that actually.
Yeah, so you got Maganova. Well, it was better than Palma Nuff. Do you know what I mean? Palma Nuff didn't really go together. Do you know what I mean? So that never came to fruition. And now Magaluf has got a good name in its entirety now, with all the upgrades to the hotels and the restaurants, bars and cafes as well. So let's see, mate. It'd be interesting.
Do you know, Rich? It's not about the name, though, is it? It's about the identity of what you've got, isn't it? The name is just. I mean, listen. I think it's like should we rename the Sunset Strip while we're at it? It's the name is the name. You need to work on the identity of the place, and gradually, organically, it just gets better. So it's about the future identity of the island, really, Rich, and both islands. So as I said, I'm not sure that the Catalan name is going to change anything, but hey ho, it's the world we live in.
Mark, unfortunately, we need to talk about football. I really want to talk about football this week. It's been a disaster. To be honest, it's been a disaster. I thought getting a point against Villarreal a couple of weeks ago was a point that was worth it. But since then, we've lost 2 games. We've now got 1 point out of 9. We now lie in 19th place. We're in relegation, and we're in relegation mire, to be perfectly honest. We are on 39 points, Girona on 40, Elche on 42, Osasuna 42, Levante 42. So those are the 5 teams, basically, that are left to get 2 places. Mallorca need to win. They're playing Oviedo this weekend, this coming Saturday. Every game kicks off at 9 o'clock this coming Saturday. Mallorca need to win. Then they need Girona to lose. They're playing Elche, so that sort of rules out one team there, because one team is going to get the result they need, and then Osasuna and either or Levante to lose as well. So they need pretty much everybody above them to lose next weekend. So it's not going to be easy. I mean, some of the teams have got teams that they could lose to. It could happen, but it's a bit of a long shot, to be perfectly honest. And I see signs that it looks like Mallorca are going to go down, unfortunately, which is sad.
Well, Rich, you are going to go down. It's as simple as that. It's a bit. I was listening to TalkSport today saying, "Oh, will West Ham go down?" Of course, they're going to go down. They've got to have a 13-goal shift. So, I mean, it's not over till it's over, Rich. But I mean, the last 3 results have been absolutely disastrous, haven't they? And not just that, it's worked against you playing the teams around you, hasn't it? Where you thought it's going to work in your favour, but it's actually worked against you because they've been genuine 6-pointers.
Well, not only that, but everybody seems to have picked up points. I mean, a few weeks ago, Sevilla were in relegation, yeah, and now Sevilla are sort of mid-table. They've won 3 games in a row, and they've got themselves out of the relegation dogfight. They've done really, really well. Whereas we we haven't been playing that badly. The last 2 games we have played badly. There's no doubt about it. Against Getafe last week and Levante at the weekend, we were awful. But we've suffered a few injuries that haven't really helped us, particularly in defence. We lost Raillo till the end of the season. He's one of our sort of stalwart centre halves. And yesterday we lost Martin Valgent as well to a hamstring problem. So our defence is pretty shaky. It's not looking good, and it looks like we are going to go down, which is not good for the island. I've always say that it's important for the islands to have, particularly for tourism point of view. Of course, people want to come and watch teams like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, etc., on the island, and also for our youngsters here that want to sort of look at a team and go, yeah, listen, I could play for this team one day. It might do the club good to go down, maybe. I don't know. Relegation can sometimes galvanise a club, but I think we'll lose a few good players as well. That's the only problem by getting relegated.
Yeah, I mean, Rich, unfortunately, it's so close down there. You're probably going to go down on 39 points, aren't you? Who you got the weekend? You've got...
we got Oviedo at
right.
home. Okay, so they're already relegated. So
you've still got a chance then, but I mean, it looks like that loss to Levante the weekend was a killer, wasn't it? And as I said, because you played so awfully as well, you really did. It was. You were lucky to get away with 2-0, I think, weren't you, Rich? So,
they missed a penalty as well. So we were. So just want to give a big shout out to my son's team as well. It was La Liga Nacional. It was the final game yesterday. Atletico Baleares, having beaten Peña Arrabal, they were the top 2 teams in the division. Atletico Baleares were favourites, obviously, to go up to Division Honor. Came and get up against my son's team. Son's team won by 1-0.
Saw it, mate. Did he get MVP, didn't he?
He got MVP, yeah. He had a great game. And also that they were down to 10 men, Palmer, as well, from about the 55th minute. So it was like literally backs against the wall. And at one point, they had another boy, because they'd made all the substitutions, another boy literally stood at the halfway line. He couldn't move for cramp. So really down to sort of 9 players at the back. And it was just wall-to-wall sort of defending. Right. And it was a great game. There was, probably over 1,000 people there, Mike. It was a busy. Everybody had come to see, them being crowned champions. They even had the T-shirts with Campeones.
No.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Epic mistake, that is. Epic fail, that is. Gosh.
Oh, they didn't go down too well, I think.
I did smile, though, when you sent me the picture and I looked at the results, because you wouldn't have called that, would you, really, to be fair?
No.
It was theirs to win. Arrabal's won it, isn't it?
Peña won 5-0. They beat I always get his name wrong.
Ferias, from Mallorca, yeah.
They beat them 5-0, so they've gone up. And I think a bit of shout out to your boys, Port Mine, but they still finished high in the league, about 7th or 8th, I think they were, which is good. They're still talking. I don't know if you know about this, but they are still talking about putting in 3 La Liga Nacional island-based leagues next year. It's still on the table. So Ibiza will have its own league, Menorca will have its own league, and Mallorca will have its own league. It won't affect Mallorca, to be perfectly honest, but I do seriously think it will affect the other 2 islands.
Don't like it at all. There's got to be a good pyramid there, man. I think all you're doing is diluting the pyramid there, really. So that's it.
I agree.
Finally, Rich, I've got a story highlighting the growing pressure on public services in Ibiza, because this week doctors across Ibiza and Formentera took part in a strike action that led to almost 400 medical procedures and appointments being suspended in just one day. The strike is part of a wider dispute happening across Spain over healthcare reforms, staffing shortages and working conditions. So the timing's not great, Rich, because it's just happening just as we get into the busy season. In the summer, our population dramatically increases with seasonal workers. And I just think the healthcare workers are just laying down a marker, Rich, that, they've repeatedly warned that the island's hospitals and clinics are under huge pressure. Some hospital departments reportedly saw a strike participation rate close to 90%. So that'll give you a little sense of the feeling in the hospitals. Basically, Rich, they're overworked and underpaid. I mean, join the queue round the side there. But at the end of the day, it's not a great start to the summer. It's become a real hot potato politically over here, because it just shows the bigger problem that the infrastructure on the island it's just creaking, Rich. It really is. And I think, as I said, that the healthcare workers are laying down a marker saying, listen, we can't carry on. But we obviously have the problem of the housing. We can't get the doctors and nurses to live here because there's no living accommodation, rising rents as well. So even if you find a house, Rich, it's €3,000 a month. It's just showing that, that the island is creaking. And as I said, the healthcare workers are just laying down a bit of a marker. So let's see how it goes, but not fantastic for us who live over here. Luckily for us, or for me, should I say, my family at the moment, we're not relying on the health care system, but there are many families out there that do. So probably want to keep an eye on probably something coming in the peak season, I would imagine, as well, just as, again, until they kind of put pressure on the government to bow to their demands. But I just think the government needs to be more proactive, Rich. I mean, we rely on the doctors, the nurses, the teachers. So give them what they want, Rich. I mean, within reason, don't get me wrong, but they're going to have to find solutions to the problem.
Well, to be honest with you, though, Mark, if you look at UK as a good example, they gave the junior doctors about a 28% pay increase, and they're still on strike.
Yeah.
Well, so it doesn't always work.
No, of course it doesn't, and I kind of get that. And also, when you give them 28%, then the next one wants 28%, the next one wants 29%. So it becomes a bit of a contest. So I don't agree with that, but I don't think it's just about pay, Rich. I think it's probably more staffing, recognising the problems of getting the staff over here. Maybe you don't get the best staff as well because of the situation with the living conditions. So, as I said, it's quite funny on the podcast because one second we're talking about tourism and talking about rebranding an area, and the next thing you're talking about hospital strike. So it really does show that the island is teetering on infrastructure issues all the time, and it never goes away.
Okay, Mark.
That's it, mate. Well, listen, I'm off to Marrakesh tomorrow, mate. So
do me a favour. Can you manage?
Well, no, I've got a little bit of business, but mainly pleasure. So just a couple of days. So I'm going to tick Marrakesh off the list, and I will give a full report next week because I'm looking forward to Rich, because I hear it's a great place. So, have passport, will travel, Richie, as you know.
Very nice. Very nice too.
Always good to speak, mate.
And you, mate. You take care.
Have a good week, buddy.
Bye, mate.
Make me dance.